sidebar here. We bumped into Alexandra Vateva here, who is, if you don't mind me saying, and we'll talk about this later, I want to talk about you first, but the first and only female driver in the Carrera Cup Middle East. This is her car behind. Yeah, £200,000, 500 brake horsepower. Anyway, Alexandra, good to meet you.
Hi, very good to meet you too.
Thank you. And look, can we talk about you and your journey? So first of all, how old are you?
I'm 20 right now.
20 years old. Sickening, isn't it? What's your journty so far? This is your first season in Carrera Cup Middle East.
So I actually started at 17 and I started with go-karting like everybody else. But unfortunately, because I'm coming from a very small country, Bulgaria, where motorsport is non-existent, and unfortunately we didn't really have a good championship where I could train or race. So I did a few races in the Bulgarian karting championship, and then I went to Romania to drive there. And again, I couldn't do a whole season, so I would say I don't have a lot of years in karting.
So no real opportunity in Bulgaria. That's a shame. Why is that?
I don't really have an answer to that.
So no investment in motorsport?
No.
Okay. All right. So not only are you only 20, and you're not the youngest driver here. Obviously, we're here with James Wallace, who is 19. Yanni, who is currently, by the way, we're shooting this just before, we're really disturbing her, just before the second race of this weekend. So Alexandra's just qualified 10th on the grid for the second race. But there are, yes, much younger drivers here. So Yanni, I think he's 17, doesn't have a driving licence yet. James Wallace, of course, started driving Porsches before he had a driving licence in the GB series and so on. But even though you're not the youngest, I think you have displayed probably the most performance outside of your experience on the basis that you've only been racing for 3 years.
Yes.
3 years. And you started in karts. So that was only 3 years ago. So you did 2 years in karts?
Let's say I started 2021 with only testing. I tested in Italy mostly. And then...
In what? A Carrera Cup?
No, in karting.
In karting?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so 3 years ago. So I'm overwhelmed that you're in the Carrera Cup Middle East Series, driving one of these, well, I have to say, and you've only been driving cars in racing then for what?
2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
Wow, okay. Right, so let's talk about what I would call the elephant in the room. And this is, let's be honest, one of the reasons I want to interview Alexandra is because she's a woman, because she's female. You're the only one. How does that feel, first of all? Does it feel, do you feel in some way a different pressure because you're racing against 17 guys?
I would say even when I started racing, I felt this kind of pressure because, of course, I as an individual put a lot of pressure on myself and I want to perform. I don't want to be stereotyped as a female driver who only comes here for marketing or whatever. So
Yeah, but that's definitely not the case because you only get to drive here on merit, on data, on stats, right? And you've qualified 10th, so you're halfway down the field, halfway up the field, however you want to cut that. You're definitely not here to tick a DEI box, that's for sure. Okay, but then the question I have to ask is, why are there not more women in motorsport?
That's a very good question.
I mean, at the top level like this, touring cars, and there are some, of course, but F1 notably, there's never been a female F1 driver.
I would say now it's the perfect time for female drivers because there's a huge movement now with F1 Academy, and I think we're going to see a lot more women in all kinds of racing. But yes, I would say that in particularly Carrera Cup, there's no female drivers at all.
Yeah.
And also, even when I made the decision to come here and to drive the car without ABS and traction control, I can tell you.
So hang on, you're driving as a pro driver. So just to be clear, what Alexandra means is that some of the non-pro drivers, I don't want to call them amateur because there's no amateurs here, believe me. The non-pro drivers have ABS. So you've chosen not to have ABS, so you have a disadvantage.
Yes. Actually, in 2024, I did a season in Porsche Sports Cup Germany where I drove this car for the first time with ABS and traction control. And I would say it was it wasn't really different to what I was used to with the Porsche Cayman GT4, where I drove it in 2023, but it's a huge difference without ABS and traction control, and it's very demanding.
So what is the difference? What, the weight of the brake pedal? I mean, what's the difference? Or just braking distances?
You have to be really careful with the brake, I would say, because, for example, coming into T1, you cannot smash the brake.
So if you lock up, it's the lap's done.
Yes, for sure. And your also tires are completely done. So it's a really fine margin. So you really have to adapt and also be really careful with the brake pedal.
Okay. And where do you think things go? I mean, where do we see Alexandra Vateva in 3 to 5 years' time, do you think, in motorsport terms?
At the top level, of course.
Still with Porsche, do you think, or
Yes, I would say I'm
Super Cup?
committed. Yes, I'm committed to the Porsche brand. And of course, I'm aiming for Super Cup. And I really hope I can be the first ever woman in Super Cup.
And what do you have to do to achieve that, in performance terms?
The thing is that you
Drive
can-
faster.
Yes, but again, budget. Budget is a big problem.
What does it cost to run one of these cars? Just in Carrera Cup Middle East, I heard £400,000 to £500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have sponsorship,
Yes,
like personal sponsorship?
I do. But of course, my biggest sponsors are my parents, and I'm extremely thankful to them. But of course, they have.
I don't see their names on the car. Oh, is that your parents' company? Intersystems. What do they do?
They're mostly focused on, I don't know how to say it, like fire systems in a way.
Yeah. So fire safety.
Yes, fire safety.
Wow. So they've supported you. I mean, ever since
Throughout
you
my
started.
journey, yes.
Yeah. Wow. And
And
hopefully
this
we'll
is my
continue to
new
do so.
sponsor.
So Ambuyer.
Yeah.
Where are they from?
Bulgaria, actually. They're a
What do they do?
cryptocurrency. They're a crypto company, yeah. And that's it for now.
Okay, but always after more. I know that James Wallace is definitely after more. That's one of the reasons we're here. And look, you know, a wonderful thing, I think, genuinely for a company to get involved in, particularly with young drivers. You know, and I dare I venture again on the female side as well. I think, you know, being a female participant at this level in motorsport must open the door up to some interesting sponsors that maybe otherwise would not have been interested in this kind of sector, maybe.
Yes, but at the same time, it's still very difficult to find sponsorship because even before I started in general racing, everybody was telling me it's so easy. Being a woman, you know, sponsors come to you, but it's not the case. I can guarantee it's not the case. You have to really fight for it. And of course, having the performance on track. So that's how you gain.
Well, you've definitely got that. Well, look, good luck in the race, which is... I think we probably outstayed our welcome, actually, in half an hour's time or so. Yeah, good luck. And keep an eye on Alexandra, because I suspect we will be seeing a lot more of her in Porsches over the next few years. Alexandra, thank you.
Thank you very much.